For all your t-shirt needs, check out TeePublic's Killer Selection. Follow the link in the description. Hey, what's up, people? Pizzal here, and today I want to talk to you guys about the upcoming Vestron Video Collector Series Blu-ray release for 2001's DAGON, directed by Stuart Gordon. Now, this is partially going to be a review of the movie as well as a review of this Blu-ray release. And DAGON is about a young couple who find themselves marooned in a mysterious and eerie town where all of the inhabitants just happen to be fish people. And they all worship a many-tentacled fish god named DAGON who lives in the sea. Did I mention that DAGON is based on an H.P. Lovecraft story? With all of the fish people and fish gods, it couldn't get more H.P. Lovecraft than DAGON. And this is a movie that I first saw when it came out on DVD, maybe even VHS, many years ago. And I don't remember liking it very much, to be perfectly honest. Now, watching the film for the first time since then on this Blu-ray release, the thing that really took me about DAGON is the atmosphere of this movie. Now, the movie was shot on location in this practically abandoned medieval fishing village, which is the absolute perfect location for a movie like this to take place, because it gives so much to the atmosphere. This is a movie that's really all atmosphere. This movie's all atmosphere. And between the location, between the fact that the movie is it's constantly raining in this movie, it's constantly overcast, it's foggy, it just looks cold, it looks dreary. And all of the actors in this movie, they spend the entire film just looking absolutely miserable. So on top of the atmosphere, which is just palpable in this film, there's also the movie just makes me feel dirty. The movie makes me feel cold. It makes me feel grimy. It really just makes me want to take a really hot shower and clean up. And that's a great thing about this movie. That is definitely a plus when it comes to DAGON. Now, whether or not Stuart Gordon intended this film to be like this, I have no idea, but it excels in the atmosphere department. Great sets. The movie's bathed in rainwater. It's almost always nighttime. It looks super cold. It just looks incredibly uncomfortable. I think that's the word that I would apply to DAGON. It's an uncomfortable movie to watch. It's uncomfortable because of the setting, but it's also uncomfortable, I think, because of some of the deeper themes going on within DAGON. And that's the fact that there's kind of a reverse evolution going on in the film where these people are turning into fish in order to go back into the ocean and live forever, and whenever someone stumbles across their little town, they skin them, use their skins to cover their fishiness, and then sacrifice them to DAGON. Now, all the acting in the film is fine. None of the characters I particularly felt that close to, even the lead. And it kind of seemed to me that the emphasis of DAGON was, again, really put on the atmosphere and not so much on the character development, or really on the characters themselves. That's at least how it comes off to me. Now, still, I do recommend DAGON because I think it's an interesting movie. I think it's got some really interesting themes. And because of that atmosphere, again, that atmosphere is just so palpable. Just thinking about it now, I feel cold, I feel wet, I want to go take a warm shower. Just thinking about this movie. The creature effects in the film, are pretty good. The transformations, the sort of the various states of these people turning into fish actually looks pretty good. There's some really bad CGI in the movie. Now, the film was made in 2001, so that was kind of right at the dawning of the CGI era. This was also a lower budgeted film, so the CGI is not very good. However, the CGI is it's mostly contained to the very beginning of the film and the very end of the film, so there's not a whole lot of it there. It's not a movie that I would necessarily say that I like or that I enjoyed watching, but again, I do recommend it. The atmosphere in this movie is crazy. The themes in the movie, I think, are really interesting. I do think it's a well-made film. I think Stuart Gordon did an excellent job directing this film. The cast do a good job. I just don't think there's enough really there for them to kind of sink their teeth into and really establish their characters. Like I said, I really didn't care that much for any character in the movie, with the exception of one character who meets a very, very grisly Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2 kind of demise. And I'll leave it at that. If you're a fan of Dagon, you definitely want to look into picking up this Blu-ray from the Vestron Video Collectors series. If you've not seen Dagon, again, I do recommend it as long as you kind of understand what kind of movie you're getting into. This Blu-ray would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film. As far as picture quality and sound quality on this release, there's nothing on the back of it stating that there's any elaborate restoration or anything to that fact. The picture quality and the sound quality were both pretty good on this release, I have to say. As far as the picture quality is concerned, I'd give it a solid 3.5 to 4 out of 5. The sound quality, again, a solid 3.5 to 4 out of 5. But there's a ton of extras on this release, and they include: first up, we get Gods and Monsters, a discussion with director Stuart Gordon, interviewed by Mick Garris. It's 22 minutes and 26 seconds in length. Mr. Gordon recalls that he was working on Honey, I Shrunk the Kids at Disney when he showed a cut of Dagon to Roy Disney, who actually loved the movie. Roy Disney watched Dagon and loved the movie, and Stuart Gordon explained to him that this was his Little Mermaid. Very interesting. Mr. Gordon discusses his love of H.P. Lovecraft and reading Dagon for the first time and why it appealed to him. He discusses how Dagon was intended to be the follow-up to Reanimator, but no studio wanted to touch the movie, not even Charlie Band. The idea of fish people just did not appeal to anyone. As a matter of fact, they said, why can't you just make them werewolves? You know what I mean? He was like, no, they're fish people. They're like, okay, well, then we'll pass. He discusses shooting the film on location in Spain at a medieval fishing village. Mr. Gordon discusses the difficulties of shooting the film, shooting mostly at night, always in the rain, and in the middle of November. He discusses the creature effects in the film. He discusses Spanish audiences hating the movie despite the film being shot in Spain. Mr. Gordon discusses Lovecraft's legacy and why his work remains popular to this day. Very nice interview with Mr. Gordon, as conducted by Mick Garris. Very nice. Next up, we get Shadows over Imboca, an interview with producer Brian Usna. It's 19 minutes and 53 seconds in length. Mr. Usna discusses wanting to follow up Reanimator with another Lovecraft story, but with the same cast from the Reanimator, kind of like what the Hammer movies did back in the day. He discusses having difficulty selling Dagon to studios because no one jived with the idea of fish people. He discusses setting the film up in Spain and shooting the film on location in a medieval fishing village and the miserable conditions the film was shot in, although he admits that he spent much of the shoot in a really great seafood restaurant nearby that had a great bar and nice cigars. So he had it made. Typical producer. The cast and crew are out busting their butt. The producer is in a restaurant having great food, great drink, and smoking cigars. Mr. Usna discusses the cast of Dagon and the critical reaction to the film when it was first released, which was not good. Very nice interview with Mr. Usna. Next up, we have Fish Stories, an interview with S.T. Joshi, author of I Am Providence, The Life and Times of H.P. Lovecraft. It's 18 minutes in length. Mr. Joshi discusses Lovecraft's love and fascination of the sea. However, as much as Lovecraft loved the sea, he hated with a passion seafood. What an odd duck Lovecraft was. Mr. Joshi discusses the mythologies of Lovecraft's work. He also discusses the film Dagon, the parallels between the movie and Lovecraft's story, and more. Very nice, informative interview with Mr. Joshi. Next up, we have 21 minutes and 32 seconds of archival interviews with Stuart Gordon, producer Julio Fernandez, Raquel Marano, Ezra Godin, and Francisco Rabal. We also get some B-roll footage and behind-the-scenes footage. Very nice. We get a vintage EPK featurette, which is 27 minutes and 17 seconds in length. It includes interviews with Stuart Gordon, Ezra Godin, Macarena Gomez, and Raquel Marano. We get a conceptual art gallery from artist Richard Rephorst, a storyboard gallery, a still gallery, and a theatrical trailer, and we get 2 commentaries for the film, one with Stuart Gordon and writer Dennis Paoli, and the other with Stuart Gordon and star Ezra Godin. I listened to about 20 minutes of the commentary with Mr. Gordon and Mr. Paoli. Very informative. They discuss how originally they wanted Dagon to be the follow-up to Reanimator, that Mr. Paoli wrote the script for Dagon right after Reanimator. They had wanted to cast Jeffrey Combs and Barbara Crampton as the leads in Dagon. Of course, that never happened. They discussed the locations and quite a lot of other things. Very nice, very informative commentary, at least for the 20 minutes or so that I listened to. This is a very nice Blu-ray release for Dagon from the Vestron Video Collectors series. If you're a fan of Dagon, you definitely want to look into picking up this Blu-ray and adding it to your collection. The picture quality and the sound quality are both good on this release, and you get some really nice new extras, as well as some old extras and some archival stuff added to this release. If you've not seen Dagon, again, I recommend it, but be aware of what you're getting into. This isn't a movie that's going to be everybody's cup of tea, but this Blu-ray would be a great way to introduce yourself to the film if you have not seen it. If you've seen Dagon, please let me know your thoughts on it down in the comment section below. Please let me know what your favorite H.P. Lovecraft adaptation is down in the comments section below. If you like this video, please leave it a thumbs up. If you're not following me on social media, those links are in the description, as well as a link to Vestron Video's website. As always, thanks so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Take care, and until next time, peace. Join the Imboca Month Club and help support my channel on Patreon. Thank you to my current patrons, Kevin Smythe, Orc145626, B-Movie Mike, Robert Sobel, Turi Delamore, Stephen Flanagan, Lori Holt, Mitch Odell, Craig Farrand, Farron Sutton, Jeremiah Lambert, Joseph Charlesworth, Grindhouse Grotto, PB Sam 6, Derek Jana, Demon Waffles, Tim Williams, Stone Gassman, Zachary Barton, Mr. Bibby 86, James Welch, Eli Geisler, and Jeff Overing. Say hello to the internet, Jeremy.
Hello to the internet.